and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Thanks for stopping by today for a little update in the dating scam information. I'm always big on sharing this because I really want y'all to be safe out there and not be falling victim to people out there who are much more interested in checking out what's in your bank account than getting to know you and having a relationship with you. And I've done some episodes for the ladies, some FTC statistics here, some new stuff about 2021 that I wanted to share. First off, 2021 saw a big rise in these numbers from the year previously. The average loss was about $2,400. The big change I thought was really interesting in this past year compared to years back is there was a huge increase of people between the ages of 18 to 29 years old. Young people even are falling for some of these scammers now. They're getting more clever. And nowadays you can actually use crypto. They're asking for crypto as part of their scam to get you to give them money. I'll talk a little bit about some of those scams, but I just thought the statistics were changing and so interesting. You would think maybe being on the decline as we hear more about this and become more aware of the situation, but there were actually more people scammed in 2021 than there had been in any year previously. In fact, my notes are reminding me that there was an 80% increase in 2021 over 2022. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about the guys. You don't hear as much from the guys. That's also on the increase, and the numbers are interesting. I'll get to some of the comparisons between men and women, but I think men might be a little bit more embarrassed to admit that they've been scammed. Everybody has that feeling of not wanting to share that they were so silly and didn't see it, but I think men more so than women are underreporting. I see here in my notes that people 70 and older were the highest losses, the average $9,000 per person. So, anybody over 50 here, you're in that up to 59 group, and I think the losses there were like $2,400. There's no reason to give these people a penny of our money. So let's talk a little bit about what they're doing, what you should be looking for, what to avoid, and that's what's on the agenda. So stick around. That's what we're talking about right now. So many of these scammers, it's the same story over and over. They have health issues. Their business, they need you to lend them some money so that they can give it right back to you. They have so much money, but they're short for this situation. And if you could give it to them, they'll pay you back, but with interest. A lot of these people are not just scamming, but there's also money laundering going on. Health issues, sick family members, or their children, or their mother, some family member, and all these people will likely tell you they're from the United States, but they're currently abroad, and that's why they don't have resources there or access to their own money. They need you to help out, and they've already developed a relationship with you, and very quickly, because everything moves very, very quickly in scammer land. So that is your first clue. If somebody is falling for you and they've never met you, sign number one, to walk away. And I'll let you all know right here, because I'll probably repeat myself, my rule for all my clients is meet them or delete them. So all my gals, she says, is he real? I said, I don't think so. But meet him within the next week or two. If you can't meet him, delete him. So also I wanted to remind you that these scammers, that it's not a woman or a man at home on their computer talking to you. They do have women in these call centers, but these are big call centers in other countries. India is a huge one. But they're in regular mainstream office buildings taking up 3 floors, having 90 people call centers or more. The one I saw a report on had over 90 people in one office, and they might have multiple offices. And they're not hidden away in some little tiny town. These are people in major metropolitan cities in India, in New Delhi, who are in buildings with other legitimate businesses with their call center, and what they're doing all day and night is calling people and creating relationships, because who else has the time to be talking to you at all hours of the day? That's your sign number 2. They're out of the country. They are not available to meet you because they're somewhere else. And also, why are they so available? Don't they have a job? But they need to be able to talk to you as often as possible because they're fast tracking this relationship. If somebody is just super sweet to you, they're really kind, you haven't even met them, but they're telling you they're falling for you, that you're handsome, that should send up a little red flag for you because they haven't met you. Should be logical. And it's nice to hear these things, and sometimes we want to hear them, that even when we hear them from somebody that we know in the back of our heads, we know that this can't be true, that somebody's really feeling this so much for us so quickly, or they find us so attractive and they haven't even video chatted with us. They're just looking at our pictures. I mean, you might be super hot, but I guarantee you, anybody who wants to date you wants to meet you before they're going to fall in love with you and before they're going to be telling you how gorgeous you are. And then before you know it, once you've fallen for them and they're telling you how much they missed you all day and they'll look forward to talking to you in a few hours, they're going to ask you for money at some point. Hopefully you haven't gotten to this point because you've realized that this person's not even in the country. You know what the response to that is supposed to be? Oh, that's unfortunate that we're connecting at such a bad time when you're not even in the country. You know, you've got my contact information. When you're back in town and you're ready to go meet for a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, you know where to reach me. I'll save our conversation on the app here. You can just message me as soon as you're back. But to have an ongoing conversation while they're somewhere else, you're just wasting your time. Because they don't live here, they're not an American or a Canadian, or they're not living in France or Germany, anywhere in Europe. They're in some of these other countries where they're just very well known for creating these romance scammers and other kinds of scams as well. And I'm not saying this person couldn't be catfishing you from another state, but I'm telling you that nobody's falling in love with you without meeting you. That's first and foremost. And then as soon as the money comes up, these red flags should be all over, that you should just immediately not ask questions, not try to clarify anything, not accuse them, delete them. Somebody's going to be sick. They're going to be shorthanded for some money for business. They're going to need airfare to come see you. That's the big one on you fellas. They're like, I want to come see you. I just don't have the money. Could you buy me a ticket? I saw a documentary, and it was a young guy. That was his whole scam, was to get plane tickets. And then he would just cash them in for cash. The men would pay for his tickets to come visit them, and I think he was like in California. Somebody would buy him a ticket to come to Las Vegas or New York or Alabama. He'd cash in the tickets or he'd sell the tickets, and there you go. He's making his money by men wanting to meet this woman in these pictures, the beautiful pictures, and have her come because she's in love with him. So they pay for her airfare. But sure enough, it's not even a woman, and nobody's coming to see you. They just took you for even just the price of an air ticket these days is too much money, but a lot of times it's more than that. So whether they need money to get money, or to get their stuff out of storage, or to help somebody who's been in the hospital, or they've been attacked and they need some hospital money, or they're in a business but all their money's tied up and they just need $2,000, it's never going to stop at $2,000. As soon as you give them $2,000, they're going to come back and say they need $3,000 for something. And then and as long as you're in the $5,000, another $5,000 isn't going to feel like much. People have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars to these people. And no, I think the amazing thing to know is that it's not even the person you see isn't going to ever meet you or isn't real. It's that these people are doing this as a business, and sometimes you're not even talking to the same person. You're talking to 5 different people throughout the day. We can make it super, super simple if you remember the one rule. Meet them or delete them. If you're on the dating apps and you're meeting people in your own town, you're not going to be messaging with them for 3 weeks or a month before you get out the door to go meet them for a cup of coffee. The point of the dating apps is not to be on the dating apps. It's to meet somebody in person, to set up a date. So on the dating apps, I'm telling you, my own dates, I'm setting them up within a week or 2. Let's align our schedules and get you out there before somebody else meets somebody wonderful and now they're off the market. So the reason I wanted to do this for men today is because men are twice as likely to be victims of romance scammers these days. They said 1 in 10 men, it's actually 11% of men, all men, give money or give personal information that allows people to get into your money and steal that from you without you knowing about it. So unwillingly giving money to these scammers. That compares to 5% of all women have been part of a romance scam. And the thing I really wanted to drive home is that it's not just the dating apps anymore. It used to be that if you stayed off the dating apps because that felt too unsafe to people who were getting back out there dating, you were okay. But people are reaching out to people on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And very often they're getting you off the apps and onto one of those chats, the chat apps, which I've never had. I don't really understand the purpose for it. But things like WhatsApp is the huge one that people will connect there and just chat, typing all day and night with somebody who's far, far away, maybe not even the gender you're expecting them to be, and certainly not anybody looking for love, only somebody looking to relieve you of your life savings. In fact, the launch pads for these scammers were broken down like this: 24% social media, 24% email, 24% messaging, and 24% dating apps. And you know, with COVID and the pandemic, they saw such a huge increase in money transfers because obviously people were feeling alone during a pandemic and being locked down at home, and they were looking for company and finding people in these 4 different ways that people were searching out people to victimize during a very difficult time for so many people feeling removed from family and from friends and from work. We were prime targets at that point. So the money was flowing, and there was a 20% increase during COVID, during the height of COVID, for money transfers. And a lot of that was dating scams. I will remind you, they have nothing but time. Nobody's going to be putting all this time into getting to know you from an oil rig or Doctors Without Borders because you're so awesome and falling in love with you despite never having spent one moment in your presence. No matter how fantastic you are, that's just not how love works. So you got to be safe out there. Protect yourself, fellas. Those women are not into you because they're not even real. And I know if you've gotten far into it and you've been being wooed and think you're wooing this person for months on end and that you know them so well and you just want to help out so you can eventually be together, that will be the answer to everything, but it is never going to be the answer to everything. Never ever send money to somebody that you've met on the internet and that you've not met in person, and just always hear my message in the back of your head: meet them or delete them, and in this situation, immediately. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give the episode a thumbs up. That's what my mother's telling you to do down here. That's my mama. And if dating conversations and relationships are your jam also, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, hit the ring bell, then you're notified every time I upload a new episode, and I'll look forward to hanging out again sometime soon. Appreciate you stopping by today, and until next time, have a good one.